Mr. Hannison.
Hello, Larry.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
It's good to see you.
Likewise.
Here's the story behind this N1 Series 1 Nissan Skyline R33 GTR here at the 2024 Type S SEMA booth. This is here in place of my R34 GTR because my R34 GTR, unfortunately, I feel like we shipped it out from Japan to the US in time to make it to the show. But of course there was a typhoon and they had to be diverted. Luckily it gets here in 5 days.
Awesome.
Well after the show's over. But the reason why this is here is because when I first laid eyes on this vehicle, this build in Australia, it just blew me away. It really did. You know, me being such a Nissan nerd, especially a GTR nerd, I've seen so many of these types of builds, but this one just really put it over the top. Building a 400R Tribute out of a real N1, only one of 55 made in that generation.
Thank you, Larry.
So what was the idea behind this?
So the N1 is the stripper model. It's the homologated. It's the one that's not available to the public.
It was meant for racing.
Yes.
So
correct.
Essentially like a race shop would purchase this vehicle from Nissan.
Yep.
And then they would strip it down, put the livery on it, change the motor, this, that, and the other. Didn't come with a radio, no air conditioning, no rear wiper.
Correct.
And a couple other things like extra coolers and stuff like that.
Yep. Lightweight paint.
So like thinner, lighter weight paint.
Correct.
They just kind of go above and beyond to just have a good, legitimately blank canvas for you to build your car. How did you get a hold of this N1?
I've been mucking around with GTRs for a very long time, and I stumbled across this car in the UK. At the time, it was in a poor condition. I really wanted to, I had a vision of bringing it back to life, using all the 400R parts that I've gathered over the years. I then visioned a 400R Tribute out of an N1 chassis. Yeah, I reimagined on something being special, a special chassis, always meant for racing, always meant for modifying, and I did exactly that.
And that's why you did it, you used the N1 versus just a regular white R33 model from any of the years.
Exactly
just for that story, just that extra oomph in terms of like
absolutely
the history, the lore that this car has. From my understanding, the hood itself is so special because I don't know if this is correct or not, but unless you have a 400R VIN number, it's very hard for you to source this hood from Nissan.
Correct. It's not available to the public. You have to provide your 400R VIN number for them to be able to give you one.
And just to give you guys an idea, I've seen these for sale for 35,000 US. Has that gone up or down? Is it kind of around?
I've heard people say they've gone up to around 50,000-60,000 US. So just the fact of the car, you know.
We're just talking about the hood, okay? Carbon fiber hood made by Nissan Nismo for the 400R model. How many 400Rs were built?
44.
It makes me wonder how many of these hoods actually exist, maybe 50? With the price of the hood, you could get an R33 running, driving GTR.
Absolutely right.
We didn't even dive into the engine bay. Okay, so let's talk about the motor package. I know this is what I mean. It looks like it was built in Japan. It's very simple. It looks like it hasn't been so modified. You know, it doesn't have a huge single, but this thing is wild.
Thank you.
You had this on a dyno. What did this make?
750 wheel horsepower.
Wheel horsepower to all four.
To at the hub, but that's
to the hub.
To the
right.
hub, yeah.
And then so, it's not a 2.6 liter anymore?
It actually is.
Oh, it still is?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. It's a forged 2.6 with an N1 block.
It's not the original N1 block then?
It's the original N1 block that came in this car.
Nice. Okay. Original N1 block from this car, matching numbers.
Correct.
What's been done to it to make this kind of power on twins?
It was a bottom end built by Motorsports Mechanical. They've been tinkering around with RBs, and they're big in the drag scene. He's got a bit of a recipe to be able to make horsepower out of the twin turbos. So it's a forged bottom end with a built cylinder head, upgraded camshafts, valves, springs, retainers, oil pump, a lot of modifications needed to make that sort of horsepower out of a 2.6 litre.
I know another piece that's really special to the 400R is this strut tower brace. It's a titanium piece. This was built specifically for the 400R, if
Correct.
I'm not mistaken. How did you get this?
So again, I picked it up out of Japan. I think this particular piece was picked up by a trip in Japan. I'm a bit of a hoarder, so I do go around to the super auto bucks, and from memory, I think I picked it up out of one of the stores in Japan.
And then what else in terms of 400R parts? You have the bumper. It's a real.
So genuine 400R bumper, genuine 400R diffuser, genuine 400R side skirts, genuine 400R flares.
These.
Yeah. So a lot of 400R tributes, they don't do the flares,
Yeah.
just because they're just so hard to get. And obviously the LMGT ones, the carbon spoiler, 400R rebar.
Oh, this is a 400R part.
Correct.
Got it.
So these are all Nismo items that were only available, or that only came on the 400R. Sure, Nissan produced a little more.
And then this is your real New South Wales plate. That's
right.
the real plate.
That's correct.
400 N1. That is so cool. In a way, this is more special than a 400R because in this day and age, with the prices the way they are for the 400R, it's pretty difficult to justify modifying it.
Absolutely.
I think it's great that this has that look. It's okay if you modify it. It's an N1, that's what it was built for.
That's right.
Yeah, and of course, on top of that, it was in bad condition, so essentially you saved it.
Exactly right.
Yeah. So then this one, no rear wiper.
Yeah, that's a no rear wiper, no speakers in the.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
So OEM. No speaker
rear
deck.
parcel shelf. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. What about the wheels?
They're a LMGT1. These are 400R spec, which are 18 by 10s. Nismo did make them in a 9.5, but on the 400R they came specifically 10-inch wide. These are needed for the R33 brakes.
Okay. And then these are just stripped down and rebuilt?
Correct.
For it to be yellow because
we're gold.
Oh. Were they originally? Yeah, they came gold, but is this kind of to fit the look of the car?
Yeah, it's a bit of a colour scheme that I wanted to sort of go with the car. You can see that with the blue, I've analysed this with the Nismo original sticker, with the raised air cap.
Did you find these in pretty good condition, or did you have to redo it?
No, I rebuilt them.
Okay.
So resynced the bolts to this spec.
Okay, got it.
So they come factory with a polished lip. I do like the white.
So how much did you change of the interior?
This car had a really good condition interior. You can see in the dash, the dash is almost brand new. Surrounds, the center console. A few items on this car that I changed that suited the 400R build are the original 400R seats.
How did you get those? 400R steering wheel.
Correct. And one of the hardest items are these genuine 400R old Nismo logo floor mats. These were actually brand new. And
like new old stock?
New old stock. And I was lucky to get my hands on them.
So that's what would have come on your car if you bought a 400R brand new?
Correct.
And it's all force. It's all four.
Correct.
So how long did it take for you to save all these parts?
I've been collecting parts for the last 15 years. So to be honest, Larry, I knew one day how special a Skyline GTR will be. We got them really early in Australia, and we got them when they were $5,000, and we really were, a lot of people were, mucking around with them, racing them, and that's sort of. Yeah.
I mean, I've said this on camera time and time again, the lack of mechanical sympathy you Australians have for these cars,
Yeah,
I shed a tear every time I see it.
yeah,
But it's because these cars were so rare and revered here in the US. I never saw one really even until I was an adult.
yeah.
You know, I knew they existed,
Yeah.
but even for us, you know, the R34 only became legal this year
Yeah,
to have. To me, it's like a trophy piece, you know?
Absolutely.
It's like something that you look at and enjoy and you drive slowly. But to you guys, it's a car just to make big tire smoke, big burnouts,
yeah.
you know, quick trap speeds.
For a long time, they were the equivalent of our Mustang.
Yeah.
You know, just because we were close to Japan, we were able to import them very early. And we had Australian delivered ones in the 90s, the R33 GTR. A lot of guys are realising, and a lot of GTR builders now are realising how special these cars are on an international level. With such a big cult following, that they're basically the Porsches of the JDM world.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys are trying to save them and restore them in a way where they're no longer highly modified builds.
Do you know if this is an original radio?
This
on
is an original R33 Nissan radio. So I've put that in using a retrofit Bluetooth transmitter, which
Okay.
I've hardwired in the center console, just because I actually drive this car and enjoy it.
Wait, did you put the AC controls and stuff in there? Because I'm assuming that it only came with heater, right?
Correct. It only came with heater. I put the AC and the radio in there, and just like I said, because I drive it, so I want it to be comfortable. I didn't want to, you know, to not be able to drive it on summer days.
Yeah. And so right now in this configuration, it has air conditioning?
Correct.
Whoa. That is too cool. And then the paint. How close is it to the original N1 color?
The N1 color is the standard QM1, though it's a lighter thin paint. So basically, when we painted this car, we tried to use the same sort of concept in spraying it. So if you put a paint meter read on throughout the whole car, it's very consistent. So just to give it that N1 specification.
And did you PPF it or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Whoa. RIP rock chips, man. And also to give you guys some context, I know a lot of you guys are probably wondering like, why did you guys put underglow on it? It does not have underglow. We are at the Type S booth, you know, time and a place for underglow and for specific cars. But because we're at the Type S booth, the guys put some strips underneath the car. It's not attached to the car.
Correct.
Just so people know that we did not mess with this car.
Correct.
Thank you so much for bringing it.
No,
Love
thank you
this
for
car
having me,
so
Larry.
much.
Thank you.
Just love the story. Love how long you've been collecting parts for this build. 15 years, huh?
Long
Amazing.
time.
Amazing. And then now that they've gone up in price, you know, it's like you're riding the wave, but you're also highlighting and putting a spotlight on these cars. I think that's great.
Absolutely.
It's great to me that you're such a great caretaker of these cars. And this is going to GTR Festival, too.
Absolutely. Yeah, after this, it'll be going to GDR Festival, where I'll be judging, and obviously using my expertise in OEM plus builds, attention to detail, looking at those little details that do matter in a build.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Larry.
Cool.